Yay! So
Oh,
sorry. I'm so sorry. It
that's
was
okay. Take your
not
time.
working.
Nope, no, don't. I don't want any more apologies. You've used up all of your apologies, and
Oh no! I don't know how to talk now. It's over.
no, you don't. There's nothing to apologize for. Honestly, I'm just glad you had time to do this.
Doing my best.
I know everybody's busy. There's a lot going on in the world.
There's
And
both a lot and not enough. If you're a person who's used to being busy and going to conventions and working nonstop, it's very difficult when all of a sudden all of your deadlines are kind of.
yeah, you're kind of, I would guess, and I really hope I'm not wrong about this, you're an extrovert.
I don't know what I am anymore.
Is that a hard question to answer?
Not really. It's just that being an extrovert because it's your job is not the same thing as this is what makes me feel fulfilled. This is why I like talking to people. Whereas, oh, if I don't go out and do this, the rent's not getting paid. So it's like,
Yeah.
if you take away the need for like content and income and generation, what are you? Like that's what we're all struggling with right now. Everybody I know who's in this I'm in is like, okay, if I don't have like the work, what am I? What defines me? What defines my day to day? Like,
Yeah.
what do I want? What do I need? Like, what is going to keep me going? I don't know. We're starting to figure that out.
Have you answered any of those questions?
I think that as long as we're alive, we're going to be answering those questions. So sorry, getting all philosophical on you here, and I apologize again.
No, no,
But,
no. That's where I want to go. I want to go into the philosophical stuff for sure.
okay, but yeah, no. The answer is no. I've not answered those questions. I will probably be like, hopefully, an old lady writing a book about how those questions can't really be answered.
Oh, that's probably true. But I mean, this
But
really
short term, yeah.
short term, yeah. I mean, this really is about self-care. Our primary focal point of discussion today is about how is Jay taking care of herself? What is she doing to take care of herself? Is she meditating? Is she going for walks? Is she getting fresh air? Like, I mean, those are very rudimentary terms for self-care, but what is it that you're doing that you feel like you might need? And you know, I understand also, like, some of those things might not always be healthy. Like, I have been eating a little too much. I've been watching a little too much Netflix and things like that. But I feel like those are the things I need right now for comfort. What about you?
Oh boy. Okay. So with me, walking is hard because I have a disability and I live in a really awful area surrounded by two hills.
Where do you live?
Oh my God. Okay. So New York and just this one area where like if I was using my mobility device, my scooter, um, it has a decent like speed or whatever, but when you're going up a hill on a wheeled device, if it's too steep, it's not safe. You could flip over.
Yep.
So generally speaking, I would probably like take a bus somewhere and then use my mobility device.
Right.
I don't really go for walks because it's like, I'm sorry, I am a city person. My place is inside in the dark with the Wi-Fi, and I don't really like going outside. So
That's
I know
okay.
fresh air is good for you, but it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Sad. Like, what kind of organic being am I that fresh air is not my thing? But it's I need to buy more houseplants. That probably will improve the air quality around
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Do you live in New
Um,
York City though? Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's
What
just
part of
that.
New York?
Oh, the Bronx.
Oh, I love New York so much. I lived there for about 15 years. It
Yeah,
was
it
the
is
best.
expensive. So anybody who gets out of here, I applaud you.
Yeah, it's too expensive and it takes too much out of me now. Like, honestly, I when I go there, I just can't believe I ever lived there because it exhausts me, you know.
But like moving is expensive. So it's like you kind of have to you are where you are unless you have the means to go somewhere else. Everyone's like, you should go live in a small town. I'm like, well, first of all, who's paying for it? And second of all, if you don't drive, which I don't,
Yeah.
it's transportation is hard. You got to be somewhere where there's a bus and hopefully an accessible metro system of some kind. Um, but yeah, so outside, no, lots of Netflix, lots of TV, lots of baking. I love baking, even
Oh,
though
what are you
it's
baking?
oh my goodness, I made this adorable lemon tart, which is basically like a pastry crumbly crust with like a sweet lemon curd
Oh,
filling. And I've been making lots of apple turnovers, and the next thing I'm making
oh,
cheesecake.
that sounds so
But the
great.
problem is that I live by myself, so I'm just eating all of this by myself. And normally I would be like, here to my friends, come get it. And they're like, no.
Oh, Jay, please don't be mad at me for asking this, but I did not know that you were disabled. Can you tell me about your disability? Is that okay?
I mean, I'll tell you a bit. Obviously, like, you have privacy stuff and whatever, but
Yeah,
do you
yeah, of
understand
course.
what an autoimmune disease is?
Can you just refresh my memory?
Okay, so your immune system, your antibodies, your white blood cells, they're there to protect you for the most part. And
Okay.
in a person who is not does not have the same illness I have, their antibodies function properly. But in my case, they don't recognize the healthy cells inside my body as self. They
Okay.
see the healthy cells as other, as like something they need to attack to defend me from. So it's like
Right.
your brain thinks that you're gravely ill and that you have tons of foreign agents in your body that has to destroy, but it's actually attacking you. So it's the worst kind of friendly fire you could imagine.
Oh, Jay,
And
I'm
so
so
like if
sorry.
you have like lupus or RA or any of those other kinds of disabilities where uh, it does that to you, you can have muscle weakness and joint weakness and organ failure. And I have all of those things and it sucks.
Yeah.
And you can't really tell by looking at someone if they have that, like it's an
Yeah.
invisible disability. There's no way to know.
And you have
And
such good energy. Like, I love your energy.
See, that's the funny thing. People don't really get that, hey, you can have like a physical illness, but mentally your acuity doesn't really, it doesn't change like how you think or who you are. So people
Yep.
kind of assume if they see you in a wheelchair, they assume that you also have cognitive issues. So I'll get talked down to a lot, like literally and physically, like talked down to, oh, do you need help? I'm like, you're kind of blocking the bus. So if you could just like all the time.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's a whole thing. So yeah, people don't really know you have a disability unless they, ask, or if they see you using a device that they recognize as the mobility aid. But my scooter is very like it's unique. It doesn't look like a mobility device to most people. It's like a tricycle. So people are probably wondering, why is that girl using a tricycle inside the supermarket?
But is it sort of themed with the things you like? Is it like Wonder Woman themed, for example?
So it's very bare bones on purpose. Like it's
Yeah.
just an aluminum frame because it needs to be narrow so I can get through doorways. So I don't really
Okay.
add things to it, but I do have a little license plate on the back. And back when I used to be like really into that, let's say I was wearing a Star Wars costume. I was Bastila Shan from the Old Republic. My license plate said Ebon Hawk because that's her ship. Or like if I'm
Cool.
doing a Star Wars or Star Trek, I could do like the Starfleet number or whatever it was, or like I love Mass Effect. I'm Commander Shepard. I mean, I'm actually wearing Mass Effect right now.
Oh,
So
cool.
so it has an N7 plate on it 90% of the time because I'm
Yeah.
always Shepard.
So what about games? Have games been doing it for you during the
Oh my
pandemic?
gosh. Okay, so this is the funny thing. Games are for fun, right? But when
Yeah.
you're a streamer and you're like, a personality and you're a public figure, you kind of get hooked into, I need to stream this. I need to have
Yeah.
this be content. Yeah, it's fun, but I need to also have it be effect for my community. People need to be able to enjoy it with me. So after the pandemic, and I realized as a person who has an immune disorder, my immune system doesn't really protect me from anything. And if I
Mhm.
caught COVID, I could die.
Yeah.
And if I lived, the recovery would be very difficult because it does
Mhm.
a lot of organ damage, and I already have failing
Yeah.
organs.
Yeah.
So it kind of made it hard to get out of my head in terms of you can't go anywhere, you're not safe. It was difficult to put aside that feeling of hopelessness enough to say, okay, I'm going to go on camera and I'm going to play a video game and I'm going to have fun and interact with people, because I couldn't stop thinking about how like bad things were. So I haven't been playing like Destiny 2, one of my favorite games ever. I haven't been
Yeah.
playing Dead by Daylight. I haven't been letting myself get into the mindset of being able to enjoy something with other people. And then because I was so hooked into, nope, if you play this game, you're going to stream it,
Mhm.
I couldn't even play it for myself by myself to have fun because I was
Right.
so, you know what I mean? So it kind of
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
you get stuck in this cycle of needing to be productive. And when everything that you do for fun is tied into productivity, it's not fun anymore.
Yep.
And so I haven't been able to play any of my games except for like really like low key match 3 puzzle games that are not for anyone else's consumption but yourself.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to really think about, okay, you need to stop thinking of yourself as a product and remember, hey, you're a person. You should be able to enjoy things without it having to be a commodity of some sort.
Yeah.
And that was a big process that I went through.
That's great that you realize that about yourself,
Ooh,
though.
it took a month.
Yeah, but it's like some people don't ever realize that. And like I used to review video games on a TV show, and I used to review for various websites and magazines. And when I got out of media, mostly because I got booted out, uh, because I'm not a streamer or anything like that. It kind of just felt good to go back to just being a gamer again. And I think we always say like, oh, what do I love? Well, let me build my career around that. But then you sort of can't love it in the way that you used to love it when you were just a fan, you know?
Exactly, and that's what I realized. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've paid for a month of Destiny content that I didn't get to enjoy because I was so busy thinking, oh no, you have to stream this." But I'm like, I don't want to stream. I just want to go on my blanket and watch Captain America and cry. Like I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. So as far as you getting, I think everybody needs like an exhale right now, right? It's just it is like we're all isolated. We're all a little claustrophobic at this point, especially for somebody like you who has the autoimmune challenges. You can't really take any chances or risks at all.
No, I haven't left my house since March.
Oh, Jay,
Yep.
I'm so sorry. I wish there was some way I could help you.
I know.
I'm so sorry. Oh, but what are you doing to sort of get your exhale? Like,
Have you heard of Animal Crossing?
oh, you too. Everybody.
I mean, it's worth it. You actually get to go visit your friend's house, and one of my friends has a spa at her Animal Crossing. So your little Animal Crossing avatar can just sit at the spa and relax with a friend, and then you can give each other gifts. Like, so I'm super late to the whole Switch thing because, I mean, as someone who, I don't know if you're familiar with actually what it's like to be disabled in America and how they limit your income and how much money you're allowed to earn and how much you're allowed to spend and like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So a game console is like a once in a year thing. Like I cannot just buy a Switch. So I hadn't had one. And so I'm the last person in my friend group to get Animal Crossing. And they're like, Jay, you're homeless. You don't have anything. Let's give you stuff. So, so like they just give you like everything you need. And it feels like you're getting to like move out into like a new place. And just it really does help with that feeling of helplessness and feeling alone because everybody I know is playing Animal Crossing, so you can just go hang out with them, and then you can actually like you can voice chat on your phone with this app Nintendo has while you're playing the game, so it's literally like you're hanging out. It's so great.
So is the weather always the same every day in Animal Crossing?
It copies your location. You tell it where you live and what time zone you're in, so it's like, oh, okay, it's whatever weather you're having right now, and it's actually like, unless you cheat and time travel, it follows your actual calendar. So
right. Okay.
You can't progress too fast. You can't there's no levels. There's no compete. I mean, there's probably competitiveness because that's how fandom is. But I don't care if my flowers don't grow as fast as the next person's flower.
But is this a little preview that Jay may be engaging in some Animal Crossing cosplay in the future?
I mean, the cosplay is so simple and adorable. Like, why not? I have tons of friends who've been cosplaying Animal Crossing since like the first one.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm probably not gonna Animal Crossing cosplay for a bit because I find myself more attached to like other franchises in terms of like the design.
Yeah.
So it's a fun game, but I really love She-Ra. I don't know if you've seen the new season of She-Ra, but it's
I haven't, no.
It's everything we wanted for the last like 4 seasons. It's like they really came through. It's a perfect ending to the show, and I'm probably gonna cosplay at least 3 characters from this.
Okay.
That's really good. And this was meant to be my year of Star Wars costumes. I think I finished one Star Wars costume and I wore it, and then I did The Witcher, which was a lot of fun. And I was supposed to do a really big Star Wars photo shoot in a woods area in Pennsylvania with a bunch of friends, and unfortunately that didn't happen because we're not risking our lives for a photo shoot. But
when you put together these costumes, like, are they things that you sew yourself or make yourself?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, I sew and fabricate 90% of it.
How do you know how to do that?
Oh, okay. So like 10 years ago, I was just going to cons like, normal person. And then I got a gig working promo for Activision to promo Ultimate Alliance 2, which is based on Civil War, really fun Marvel video game.
Yep.
And I didn't cosplay. They literally hired me because I was obsessed with Marvel and a huge freaking nerd. They were like, you could probably answer any question someone throws at you. This is for you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And me working at a con for the first time and getting to see like the other side of the table and then looking at cosplayers and going, that looks like fun. I kind of feel like I like working at conventions, but I think I want to do something different in terms of like how I interact with the crowd and like what gets me out of my shell, because I was super introverted back then.
Hmm.
But when you cosplay, you're wearing fandom like on your person, and people kind of see you and know, okay, we have this in common. You like this thing as much as I do because the
Right.
time you spend putting this thing together.
Yeah.
And so that was my first tiptoe into it, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had
Yeah.
not sewn anything since I was 12 and made a pillow for home ec class. And my first costume was terrible, but this was
Yeah.
back in 2009, 10. So everyone was really nice, and no one made me feel bad about my costume being horrible. I made so many friends that I still talk to this day at that convention. And I just decided, hey, I want to make better costumes. I want to actually know what I'm doing. I don't want to use staples or safety pins to keep my
Yeah.
costume together anymore.
Yeah.
And the more I practice that, the better you can. I'm self-taught. Just the internet is a wonderful resource, and there's literally nothing you can't do if you try. Outside of like, in my case, polyurethane casting is hard because you need ventilation, and I live in a windowless cave. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have like Batgirl cowls and things that I buy from like other cosplayers, people who I want to support in my community. But everything I can make out of foam or like Worbla or like soda bottles, whatever. Like I have a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of recycled stuff in my costume portfolio. But it's something that you can just teach yourself. It's really not hard. There's tons of Patreons you can follow. I mean, I have one, like lots of cosplayers I know have one where you just post your patterns and share with people. And I do sell like patterns sometimes, but for the
Yeah.
most part, unless it's someone who's like, no, I want one that's exactly for me, I'm not really going to charge for it.
Right.
I did also for a while run like a consult business because I didn't have time to like draw patterns for each person, but I could like talk with you for half an hour on Zoom or on Twitch or whatever, and like just tell you how to make this,
Oh,
and
that's
then you do
great.
it yourself. Yeah, I provide like resource lists. Like it's something I just wanted to do, try to help people. But it's funny, the pushback you get from the other fans who are like, I can't believe you're charging. I'm like, I mean, I'll just post how I did it for free. But if you want me to tell you how to do something for yourself exactly, then I mean, my time is worth something. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. So the this Jay that I'm talking to right now, how is this Jay different than the Jay just before the pandemic started? Like, what have you learned from the
Ooh.
pandemic about yourself, and how have you changed a little, other than the baking and the Animal Crossing?
I mean, I always loved baking, but I just never had time.
Yeah, yeah,
So, day before the pandemic, lived in hotel rooms, went
yeah,
to, for work, 25 conventions a year.
yeah.
Um, Roommates never saw her. Who is she? Does she live here really? Because I have my own kitchen and bathroom, and it's
Yeah,
inside another property with other people, but I'm never home.
yeah.
And I I really define myself by like the work that I did and everything that I do, my schedule, like everything. I don't know. That's a good question I didn't think about
Yeah,
before.
that's
Like, how
okay.
is this Jay different than? I guess I think a lot more about. I think more a lot about more. I think a lot more about my own mental state than I did the next thing,
Mhm.
because your mental state, your mentality is going to dictate what your experience is going to be in the environment you're creating for yourself. But
Mhm.
in the past, the outside world dictated what I was going to have to experience because that's what I had to deal with. But I'm building my own environment for my workspace right now in terms of being at home all the time and not having to constantly adjust to whatever inaccessibility I was going to encounter at the next hotel or next convention.
Mhm.
So I'm a planner. I would constantly plan. I would call ahead. I would find out whether this site was wheelchair accessible or not, whether I had to get someone to build a ramp for me, whether I had to figure out like how I was going to get medication shipped to where I was going because I couldn't get it at home in time. Like all those logistics shifted into how are you going to avoid your depression keeping you from eating this week? Like, how are
Mhm.
you going to, get yourself back onto a schedule? Because if you don't have something to look forward to, you're going to sink into a depressive state. And I don't want to do anything that's going to cause me to have a breakdown or cause me to, need to get medical attention that I could have avoided if I had just kept to my regimen. You know what I mean? Like, so when you have physical disabilities and chronic illnesses and mental illness, you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself the best that you can, because it's like a domino effect. And if you don't keep up with what kept you going before, even without the impetus of I only have a couple hours for the next flight, I have to do this. That was a good motivator. I don't have that
Mhm.
anymore. So now it's all up to me to motivate myself to keep myself healthy so that I can be productive, even if it's not as much as I used to, at least something,
Yep.
because it's so hard to keep yourself going without that. But then you realize, hey, you're letting things slip, and it's more dangerous to go to a doctor for, like, you know, for depression or for like a chronic illness, because you might catch coronavirus in the waiting room. You might catch it
Mhm.
on your way there. You need to maintain your, you know, your status quo or whatever at home, so you don't have to go out and encounter things that are going to infect you. And in order to do that, you kind of have to shift your focus from what does this convention need, what does this company need, to what do
Mhm.
I need.
Mhm.
And with me, it was like, okay, you need food. You can't go to the grocery store.
Yep.
There's no one you can really ask to bring it to you, because then a lot of my friends were also immunocompromised, or they're
Mhm.
essential workers and they don't have time. So it's like, okay, figuring out orders, figuring out how to get like Instacart to work or whatever, or all that other stuff, doing meal deliveries. It's like focusing on like the day-to-day things kept me out of the slump for a little while. But then it became really frustrating, because a lot of the conventions I worked for were insisting they were going to keep happening. And I was like,
Mhm.
you know that you can't actually have this convention, right? And I understand that it's, for them, it is a business, and
Yep.
they have to continue to put up the front of being able to do so until their insurance clause kicks in and they're able to cancel.
Mhm.
But in my case, it was like, hey, can you promote this? And I'm like, I feel like I'm being disingenuous, because I know I'm not going to your convention if it's going to be
Mhm.
in June.
Yep. Yep.
And so it's like they're asking me to lie to my own audience, and I'm like, I've just been posting food pictures on my social media, because food is true. Like, I can't
Yeah.
lie and say. And plus, people do, like, they trust my opinion, because they're like, hey, we know that your life is in the balance here, and if you say this is safe, then we're probably gonna go. Like, I've had
Yeah.
conventions that had me, you know, give out discount codes for buying with my name or whatever.
Yeah.
And if the convention defaults and then cancels, doesn't refund anybody, I have a responsibility to my audience to, like, you know, to say, hey, I'm really sorry that I asked you to trust people with your money and
Right.
it didn't come through. I don't want that to ever happen again. I want to make sure that the information I'm putting out is as truthful and beneficial as it can be,
Yeah.
because as much as I say, hey, I want to give to my audience is given to me. Like, a lot
Right.
of the things that I have right now would not be, I wouldn't have without people saying, hey, I want to follow this person. I trust what they're saying. I believe in them. I want to encourage them because they've encouraged me. Like, when I meet someone, you know, years ago, they're like 12 and they made their first costume because they Googled the picture and they saw me in it and they wanted to be
Yeah.
like me. And now they're going to FIT and I feel
Oh
old, but this is so great.
no, it is so great. Oh
Like,
my
oh my
God.
God. Like, I'm inspiring the next generation of people who actually like want to make professional costumes. And like,
Yeah.
it's so wonderful to see. And I really want to keep doing that for as long as I can. And I'm grateful that there are aspects of what I enjoy doing that can be monetized or commodity, and something that can like help me support myself in a way that doesn't feel draining, in a way that doesn't feel
Mhm.
like I'm selling too much, or that I'm taking the fun out of it. So that's why I don't really do commissions as much as I could. People are like, oh, you should sell costumes. I'm like, the thing is, if you have, a physical disability that keeps you from making something on a schedule for another person, it's not good enough. You can't
Yeah.
say, oh, I'm sorry you didn't get to wear to this con because I had a backache or something. Like,
Yeah.
you need to be able to only deliver what you can. And so I
Mhm.
feel like if I can help people with the knowledge as opposed to the actual physical item, that's just as good.
Yep.
And then I
Yep.
don't feel like I'm compromising myself, and it's also not as draining. Like, when I make something for a friend and they don't care when they get it, that's different
Yeah.
than someone's like,
Yeah.
hey, here's $400, can you make this for me like in a month? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do my best. Like, I think it's really important to know your own limitations and to work
Yeah.
within that. And that's something that it took me a while to pick up on too, because I never wanted to say no. No, you have to learn to say no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta.
You know, honestly, Jay, I'm so impressed by what you're saying to me, and the ways in which you're aware of yourself and the things you're doing that are healthy and the things that might not be good for you right now, and the ways in which you're connecting with people. And like, I am knocked out by what your self-knowledge, and I wish that I had as much as you do, because it's really impressive.
I feel like a lot of the adversity you go through as a young adult, like moving out on your own, and I left my family home at a very young age, because I just wanted to, escape an abusive situation.
Yep.
And I think that learning to survive when it's literally like you are sleeping on the street and you need to get yourself safe will prepare you for a lot. I don't want everyone to go through that. It sucks,
Yeah.
but I think that that's a lot of why I tend to react differently to situations like, the world kind of coming to an end in a way,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
figuring out how to live in this post-pandemic environment, and realizing that I'm slightly more hobbled than the average person. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to live in a capitalist society where your value is literally how much income you can generate. And because of the way our government handles disability income, it literally tells you, hey, we understand that you have a medical impairment and you're not able to earn as much as you would have if you were physically, capable. But we're going to tell you, oh, and we also know that you have more expenses because you're ill, but we're going to tell you that you can't earn more than $14,000 a year. And if you do,
Right.
take away your health insurance. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, I'm like, how? And it's a lot. And when I tried to work a 9 to 5 job, and I realized, hey, this isn't going to work for me because I have way too many medical needs to be able to be in this space, and teleworking doesn't always work either. You kind of have to build your own niche in terms of,
Yeah.
okay, I can do this work here, I can do that work here, I can do this work, I can do like freelance here and there, and you kind of make it work. And I'll say this, I don't think my schedule before the pandemic was entirely healthy. I don't think that doing 25 conventions a year and doing freelance editing work from my hotel rooms on my laptop in the train station in the airport, just to make enough money to pay for all of the medical costs and like just general living expenses, and to also put money back into like your brand, like logos and like merch and stuff like that. I don't think necessarily it was the healthiest thing, but at least it was a train that was consistently refueling itself and keeping it going down the track. And now it's like, okay, you can't do any of that stuff. You can't really rely on being able to ship things because shipments are being lost, and like going to the post office is a dangerous endeavor because there are tons of people in there who don't wear masks, and also if you're a disabled woman, people are constantly trying to touch you. And ooh, it's gross.
No touching people for the last time.
Please. I have so many shirts. Don't touch me. No, thank you.
Oh,
I don't need. Yes. Okay, so I have a mobility device that has no handles on it. It is a electric. People will try to push my back to like, because I'm not moving fast enough.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
And I'm like, yeah, it can go 6 miles an hour, but I'm in an airport with children.
Yeah.
There is absolutely, and no matter what I do, if I hit someone, it is my fault. It doesn't matter if they were lying on the ground in front of me. It doesn't matter if they were a kid running towards me. Like I've had to physically lift someone's child off my wheel. Like, no, I'm on a ride. Go away. So that's something
I'm so sorry.
I don't miss being out in public for that. I miss seeing my friends. I miss seeing my partner and my girlfriend. I miss everybody, but I just, I gotta wait until after the vaccine is out.
We gotta wait.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know your personal thoughts on it, but a lot of people have been like kind of upset with me because my opinion is I don't think we should have recreation-driven, non-essential businesses open until we know what we're doing.
I'm with you.
So someone accused me of targeting the theme parks in a post that I made, and I was like, oh yeah, they got a lot of fear from me. I'm going for Universal. Bow bow. No, but because I was like, I think that restaurants should do takeout and delivery and no dine-in, because there's proof that if you go to a dining restaurant and you stay for an hour, you can catch the virus from someone not even sitting near you, because the air circulates inside the restaurant. That's just how it is. And she was like, well, other restaurants are open. I'm like, yes, but if you're a themed restaurant in a theme park for characters and people don't go there for the food, they go there for the experience, you can't safely provide the experience. You should just you should either be closed or just deliver the food. That's it. And nobody wants takeout from like Universal Studios restaurants. They want to go. And I understand. I want to go to, dude, I had a all expenses paid Disney trip as a gift that I was supposed to go on last month.
Oh.
Yeah. I was going to be first time ever in a Disney resort, like everything.
Oh.
It was on Dapper Day. I was going to be so cute.
Wow.
Yeah.
From a cosplay perspective, is there anything on the calendar that's just like, this is our sort of tentative, we're going to get back together and do this again, or we really can't make any kind of plans right now until we actually have the vaccine?
Cosplayers, it depends on what community you're in, because people think we all know each other. We do not. But in my community, I'm just going to be honest with you, we don't. Oh, Jay, you know so-and-so. No, I've never. But in my friend circle, a lot of us are chronically ill or disabled, and we're like, yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side of that vaccine 2.0. Like, but a lot of cosplayers would really like to do like KatsuCon next year, for example, because that's like the big convention in Maryland where everyone debuts their looks, and it's got beautiful indoor resort scenery. And I'm just like, that's still a little early for me, dog. I don't know. And then there's conventions that I'm actually supposed to appear at that are happening in that time frame, and I'm like,
We'll
we'll
see.
see. Yeah, I trust the governors of the states that are being responsible. RIP to my friends in the other states. Pour one out for me. But I trust that they are not going to reopen and allow large gatherings of tens of thousands of people before we have, at the bare minimum, testing, tracking, a way to separate people. And I know that there's a big convention in July. Have you heard about this? Tampa Bay Comic-Con is actually, they have permission to run.
Oh, really?
Tampa Bay, like a huge city. Okay. Oof. And I know the governor of Florida wants to remove everybody from the unemployment rolls. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to like save money for the state, but they're going to die. And I used to work security for the Jacob Javits Center. I've been that person who had to check your badge.
Yeah.
I made sure I never worked during Comic-Con. I did other cons, but I had to physically contact at least like by either by touching, by being within 6 feet, 20,000 people a day.
Yep.
And the viral load of each person who works at that job is going to be so immense. Even if you are a young, healthy person, you are going to get sick.
Did you ever work? You worked at the New York Comic-Con?
No, I worked at the Jacob Javits Center, which is where the Comic-Con is, but I always requested off for Comic-Con so I could go. Yeah. So I would be the security guard at the boat show, the jewelry show, like the book fair, like the dental show, any of those other conventions I didn't care about. But I made sure that I took my day off and I bought a ticket and went to Comic-Con.
I love New York Comic-Con.
It is wonderful.
I loved it. I loved it. Like that just always was satisfying for me. I know you had to go all the way west to get to the Javits Center. You just walk, walk.
I thought they were never going to build that train station. As somebody who lives here, I thought they were never. They're like, oh, I can't believe we finally got that.
Yeah. No, it's great. They're bringing back memories. I don't know. I mean,
that was my first cosplay convention, 2010 or 2011. Yeah, it was my first time ever
I must
cosplaying.
have seen you there for sure. Like
probably go back through your old pictures.
I will for sure. Listen, I've taken up so much of your time, and
you have not. It's been an absolute delight.
It really has for me too. So thank you so much.
Did I hit everything?
I think you did a great job. I feel like you went down and you pulled some stuff out that was really useful, and I think people are going to really respond positively to your message.
Oh, awesome.
So are you still streaming now? Are you streaming anything at this point?
Oh yeah. So I actually just got my affiliate status on Twitch. Yay.
Oh really? So if people wanna watch you stream, how do they find you?
Oh, so I am that Jay Justice on everything. ThatJayJustice.
Okay.
So I post my schedule on Twitter. I'll be on Twitch probably later this week. I think I'm actually. You might catch me on the front page of Twitch doing a thing tomorrow.
Oh, really? Hint.
So that'll be fun.
We'll see.
But I'll be streaming Destiny, Dead by Daylight. I'm going to do some crafting streaming finally for a long time. Yeah, I've got my setup ready. So there'll be a little overhead camera with me gluing stuff on one side and then me making me like, Yeah. I have so many supplies. Like my workshop was ready to go, and then this happened, and it was like, I don't know what I'm gonna wear this. I mean, there's always, doing photo shoots in your backyard or whatever, but it's like a lot of my cosplay is with my friends, like just having fun with my friends, doing our thing, doing our Wakanda Royal High Council. Like, I'm the royal advisor because I obviously have the best plans.
I love your ego. Really, I do, sincerely.
I didn't choose this role. I was elected.
Oh, Jay, thank you so much. Thank you for your wonderful energy, and keep feeling good and keep taking good care of yourself, and don't let people touch you. Let me know if anybody touches you.
My cane is 3.5 feet long. If you can touch it, you're too close.
Too close. Listen, have a good day, okay?
You too.
All right, hopefully we'll meet soon.
Oh, I hope so.
Okay.
See you in 2022.
All right. Bye.